Hello, this is Glenn Wolf and welcome to another edition of information from franchisebuyer.com.au. Today I'm with Faith Manning of Retail Food Group and Donut King. Hello Faith, how are you?
I'm great, Glenn. How are you?
Excellent, I'm great, thanks. Thanks for taking the time to go through a bit of a presentation with me today. And what we're going to do in this presentation is to really give you a bit of a taste of what it's like becoming a Donut King franchise owner and what it's all about. And Faith is really, you're going to take the lead, aren't you Faith?
I certainly am.
And go through the whole thing and give you a really good rundown of what's a more detailed rundown of becoming a Donut King franchise owner.
Well, I guess for those of you that don't know, Retail Food Group is Australasia's largest multi-food franchisor, and the Donut King franchise system is one of our fabulous franchise retail operations. The concept of Donut King, I guess, surrounds the sale of our mouth-watering donuts, but we're not just limited to donuts. We also do hot dogs, espresso coffee, hot and cold beverages, our signature Quake shakes, soft serve ice cream, breakfast toast, and not to mention, of course, our fabulous all-day hot cinnamon donuts.
I love it. We'll get some nice little photos up for you as well. The kiddies love it, obviously.
They do. Look, it's one of their absolute favourites. Pesta power is a wonderful thing.
And all those colours for them. Okay, there's another happy franchisee doing her thing. What have we got there, Faith?
This is actually one of our earliest stores, and you can really see how Donut King has evolved over the years. You know, donuts have been around for many, many years, and we've had to move with the times as well. You certainly see within our shop fit, the shops that you see out and about now, we've gone to a more contemporary look with pink and brown. Sprinkles were a big thing within the tiles and sort of the livery of our stores, and our uniforms have changed as well.
So you can see that on that corner there, those little sprinkles all over the donuts. What year is this sort of photo, do you think?
Oh gosh, I think that would be around about 1986 or something like that. Okay. Yeah.
Looking pretty cool in those uniforms.
I know. Gorgeous little red hats. So, since our first store opened back in 1981, the Donut King system's evolved into a really great, huge network of over 360 stores throughout Australia, New Zealand, China, Papua New Guinea. We've got them in Saudi Arabia, with more international interest shown every day. I actually receive the leads that come through every day on the internet and via phone, and the international interest in Donut King especially is really quite outstanding.
That's interesting because you're doing quite a bit internationally at the moment, expansion, aren't you?
We absolutely do, and we've got a dedicated team that look after international expansion. Donut King is an Australian born and bred franchise system, and I think a lot of people don't realise and remember that it is that. We're not American, we are wholly Australian, and there's a lot of interest out there internationally with donuts and with the Donut King system in general.
Yeah, it's true. I think I have been asked previously about whether Donut King was Australian or American.
Yeah,
I do recall being asked that.
I remember a few years ago we did a big promo on our Aussie pack, and we did a 6-pack of cinnamons and then a 6-pack of iced donuts, really to try and bring that forward to the Australian population. I had Aussie flag on the box, etc. That we are Australian. Yeah,
it was news to some people.
It was, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so a bit of a snapshot about what Donut King can provide to you as a franchisee if you're looking to take on a business. We have fantastic training, and we'll show you a little bit later on some footage from our training academy. Retail Food Group have invested very heavily in the training area over a number of years, and we have a very large team of dedicated trainers. A lot of those trainers have actually been franchisee owners themselves, or out there in the field as business development managers, and then have chosen to come into training. So you get a real sense of empathy from your trainers when you're here in training. They really want to make sure that you know what you need to understand before you go out into your own store. Marketing support is another key area of support that we offer you. When you're running your own business, oftentimes you don't have the time to step outside your business and organise your own marketing, and that's really where Retail Food Group marketing department comes in. You have a dedicated marketing manager and a team of assistants that work within Donut King as well. All of the point of sale that you see out there in Donut King land has been generated from Retail Food Group head office, and we're very proud to say that we stand behind all of our national promotions. Our stores out there in franchisee land support our national promotions and also undertake local area marketing themselves.
I know also from the little bit of stuff we've done together on Franchise Buyer is If you're on the Donut King page, you'll be able to see a little embedded magazine there of a whole bunch of examples of marketing campaigns that Donut King have put together as well.
That's right,
you can
yes.
check those out.
And look, local area marketing is something that is very key for franchisees to undertake. We want them to be part of their community as well. You know, supporting your local football team. We have certificates that are already, you know, generated and graphics are presented, a display on those, so that you can order those through the local area marketing, have them delivered to your store, and use that as a form of, you know, marketing your store and communicating that you're part of the community and where your local store is situated. So the franchise agreement is key to the relationship that we have with our franchisees, and what we do is, if you're going to buy a new store, we will offer you a 10-year term. That comes in two parts. The first part is a 5-year term, which is run concurrent with the lease of the business that you're purchasing, and then we offer you a renewal at the end of the first 5-year term. If you're purchasing a resale business, it's a different situation whereby you're purchasing the balance of the lease and the balance of the term that's available on that franchise agreement.
So the resale businesses are businesses that are already operating?
That's right, yeah. And look, there is interest out there absolutely in our resale stores. Some people prefer to look at buying a resale business, something that has some figures to show them actually in that store, as opposed to a greenfield. That's a term we use for a brand new store, a greenfield store. And what you really rely upon when you're purchasing a greenfield business is the history of the Donut King system and the averages that we can produce to you from within our disclosure document.
And I suppose being around for so many years, 360 stores, that helps as a bit of data there.
Absolutely. Look, our disclosure document certainly gives you information about the system in general, but also the actual financial snapshot that you would need to rely upon when you're looking to purchase a greenfield store. There are some systems out there that don't offer you that. So Donut King stand behind their businesses and the figures that we supply to you, because they've been actually delivered to us by the franchisee throughout their profit and loss statements.
Okay, excellent. So the $1 million question, I suppose you put at the investment level. What is a rough investment level for a Donut King
so
franchise?
If you're looking for a brand new Donut King, anywhere between $295,000 up to $340,000. Now that does depend on the size and the location of the business, and that's what we call a turnkey price. So that includes your initial franchise fee, your initial marketing fee. We will project manage the build of your store. All the plans and drawings are included. Your training is included. Really, I say to people when they call me and ask that question, the things that you do have to allow for that are over and above the budget that we would give you is your bank guarantee, which is generally, say, 3 months base rent plus outgoings, promos and GST.
Sorry, bank guarantee, what's that?
A bank guarantee is kind of like a rental bond, if you like. You know, if you were going to rent a property, the landlord would say to you, give me 3 months rent, so I'm going to hold on to that.
Yep.
And then they would utilise that in the event that the franchisee walked away for any reason.
Yeah. Okay.
They would utilise that.
Okay, so it was $295 to $340 is the range for a brand new.
That's right.
And a resale?
Well, look, a resale really can go anywhere from, you know, whatever the market tells them that the resale should be sold for. You really have to look at the weekly sales in a store and the yearly turnover, and then look at other businesses in the area. It's really the $100 million question, Glenn. It's very hard to say.
I'll put you on the spot.
On that one.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. No different buying a house, isn't it? What's the market prepared to pay?
Absolutely,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
Yeah.
So we've covered a little bit about what's included as far as it. So it's basically a turnkey operation when you're looking at a new ones, and obviously a resale business is everything that comes with that business at that time that's already been operating.
That's correct, yeah. And of course, the thing that we didn't cover, I guess, is the fact that the marketing support and the ongoing support of the business development manager is also part of that deal. So one of the benefits of getting a franchise system is the fact that you also get that support, that ongoing support from a BDM.
Sure.
Very valuable.
BDM, sorry?
Business Development Manager.
Okay.
Sorry, acronyms.
I know, obviously I've been in franchising for a few years and we've got acronyms all over the place, so I'll attempt to find them and when I hear them. Okay.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, the ongoing franchise fee. So it really gives some people an idea of what the ongoing fees are and everything, being a franchisee with Donut King.
Sure. Well, with Donut King, you have a royalty of 7%, and then you have a marketing fee of 3%. So that's something that is payable weekly, and it's actually direct debited from your account. Comes off your gross sales, and that goes towards the support of Donut King, the ability to use the Donut King name and brand, and having the strength of brands behind Donut King. So we're not just all about Donut King. We'll tell you about that a little bit later. So there is certainly lots of support and lots of benefits to having a big brand name behind you.
And how many years? It's since 81, so that's basically 30. Was it 30? Oh, wow, 31 years.
We celebrated our 30th birthday last year.
So really, you're getting 31 years of brand recognition.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that creates foot traffic.
Very valuable.
Yeah. Okay, so rough sort of opening hours to give an idea of opening hours of a Donut King business.
Well, look, most of our stores are situated in shopping centres. We are currently looking to move away from shopping centres, but let me tell you how it is at the moment. We open the hours that the shopping centre opens. So we generally try and include within our leases, though, the ability to go into our stores at least 3 or 4 hours prior and 2 or 3 hours thereafter.
To do stuff closing. That you might need to do.
That's right, yeah.
So when you say moving away from shopping centres, you've got enough in shopping centres basically, but you're moving to other locations as well. So you're not closing down.
No, absolutely not. No, look, we just see that in the future that there is opportunity out there on the outskirts of shopping centres. We're looking at potentially the opportunity there for drive-through even with Donut King, and looking at what we call strip sites or high street positions.
Okay. Financial support. We've had a couple of $1 million questions so far.
Yep.
But here's what sort of financial support? I know Donut King's backed by Retail Food Group, a very large company. Yep. So what financial support is there in place? Yeah,
look, we have a relationship with 3 of the top brands within Australia. That's the NAB, CBA, and Westpac. Sorry, that's wrong. That was NAB, Westpac, and ANZ.
Okay.
What that means to your average person out there on the street, the accreditation gives value because Retail Food Group have gone through quite a bit of research with those banks. They appreciate the size of our business, they understand franchising, and they value the businesses that we support out there in franchisee land. So what that does is it allows you to approach a bank with the the confidence that they understand the business that you're taking on, they understand franchising as a concept, and they value that. So depending upon your personal debt position, those banks will lend you between 50 and 65% actually on the purchase of your business. So most people these days, and that I find that I speak to that come through looking to franchise our businesses, use their homes as equity. And the balance of the money they will either get through cash or shares potentially, and then through that accredited process with the banks.
Okay, so that's a big thing, to be able to get between 50 and 65% equity essentially secured against the business. And I know speaking to a number of bankers who specialise in franchising, the accreditation process is no small process, is it? It's a very detailed process the bank goes through, because essentially the bank is taking the risk, isn't it? So so it's a great thing. So it's a real tick in the box for a franchise system when they've got a number of banks on board willing to accredit that
Absolutely,
system.
Yeah. And look, to be honest with you, there are other banks that approach us
yeah.
That want to accredit us as well. We have very strong relationships with those banks that I mentioned, and I meet with those banks quarterly and do the accreditation every year as well with them.
Okay, Retail Food Group. Tell us about all the brands that Retail Food Group have and what you guys are all about.
Well, look, Retail Food Group started off as really just 2 brands. That was BB's Cafe and Donut King many years ago, and we became publicly listed. And since that time, we have really grown as a company, and certainly our brands would reference that. We now look after Brumby's Bakery and Brumby's Go, Michelle's Patisserie, Esquire's Coffee Houses, BB's Cafe, Pizza Capers, and Crust. So a few of those brands are more recent to us. Mm-hmm. We take the integration process very, very seriously here at Retail Food Group, and we've obviously done it quite successfully to date, and we're in the process of doing that at the moment with Crust. We also took on more recently a business called The Coffee Guy from New Zealand.
So we missed one. We've missed a logo there.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Yeah. The Coffee Guy is a mobile coffee delivery service in New Zealand, and it's the largest one that New Zealand has. So we've taken them on board, and what that means is that our coffee, our ability to roast coffee in New Zealand has grown, and all of that benefits all of our brands at the same time.
So I imagine there's immense buying power and everything with volume and everything you can get for franchisees as a result of that, what you can deliver.
It certainly does. And look, the brands that we take on really appreciate the fact that they've come on board with Retail Food Group. The franchisees appreciate it because they know at the end of the day that potentially it could improve their bottom line. So at the moment we're looking at around about 1,350 stores that Retail Food Group is looking after in our stable of brands. And look, we certainly haven't closed the door on more acquisitions going forward. Look, we at Retail Food Group, we believe that our systems are really one of the most respected and successful systems in Australasia. We have fully integrated franchise systems and we offer quality products and market leadership in each of our brand target markets. A lot of that is really all about our franchisees and the ongoing dedication and loyalty of them. We support our franchisees by business education, with marketing, operational systems, as well as ongoing support systems.
I know, I've seen as we've done a tour through the training academy, and there's a video on the site, Franchise Buyer site as well. They all train together pretty much, don't they? A lot of the franchisees. There's imagine there's a lot of ideas that's exchanged and all that between brands.
Look, coming into the academy is a fabulous experience. Not only do they learn how to operate their businesses, but they also create relationships that are very valuable for them going on in their businesses. Relationships with Retail Food Group head office staff and personnel, and relationships, more importantly, with their other franchisees that they're in business with. And as you mentioned, Glenn, Donut King franchisees will train along Michelle's Patisserie franchisees. There are a number of our processes in training that do link to each system. For example, workplace health and safety, chemical training, induction, all of those things are generic across the brands and equally as important as, learning how to make a donut or a great coffee. So I guess you have to ask the question, is Donut King right for me? Can I picture myself in that store, in that uniform, serving those customers? And really that's one of the key questions that I ask people when I talk to them, first of all.
So I know you wanted to go through a few main things that people really need to consider if they're looking at being a Donut King franchisee.
Yeah, look, you do have to understand that you are going to be working with people very, very closely, and not just your customers, but also your staff. The ability to relate to the younger generation in your business is very important. You have to understand how to approach people. You have to be polite. You have to be friendly. Those customers are going to be your bread and butter in the future. It's like kind of running a bar. The old story of you need to know your customers' names. So when Glenn comes to my Donut King store, I can say, Glenn, I know you have a long black. Can I get you one today? Would you like that in a mug?
Exactly, I know. Exactly. And good people skills go all around in any business. But we all know as consumers, the last place we want to go is the place where we bought a coffee previously and it was a grumpy owner or something like that. You just don't want to go back. So good people skills is obviously essential.
I hear exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And look, do I want to be a business owner? Do I have what it takes to be a business owner? And maybe I'm sick of working for the man. maybe I think that I could do it better. And oftentimes these are reasons why people come to us. There are a lot of people out there that have always had a dream to own a business, and owning a franchise system is a way to make that happen without having to have all that prior experience. None of us were born knowing everything, and it's okay to ask questions. So, if you're thinking that you've always wanted to own a business, ask yourself these questions that we're going through, and then make the call.
And they're really serious questions, aren't they? They're not just throwaway sort of questions. They're really that people really need to sit down and have a think about and consider what's right for them really deeply.
Well, that's absolutely right, because you want people to come into the system that are dedicated to it, that have thought about what they wanted to do and are really serious about it. I understand that this is a big decision for people. Sometimes they're putting their house on the line to come into this business, and that's why we're here to help them. So if you want to succeed in your own business, don't go into business unless you've got that strong desire, because you're going to have to put in a lot of hours, you're going to have to put in a lot of time, and the results are there and the success is there if you're prepared to do those things. One of the key things that you must take into account is that when you buy a Donut King system, you must be prepared to work in that business on a daily basis. I often get calls with people that want to buy a business for an investment purpose, and I'm quite upfront with them, and I say, look, I don't think Donut King's for you, because it is important for us that our franchisees work in the stores on a daily basis. They need to be hands-on. They need to know what's going on. They need to know the numbers every day, the targets that they're setting for their staff, the sales targets, their personal targets, and really have a very strong involvement every single day.
I wanted to go through just a few more things that you really look for as well.
Yeah, look, we want to have people in our businesses that are happy and positive about what they're doing. Donut King is a happy place to be, and you only have to step and look outside one of our stores to see that that is the case. So we want people that are positive about their business, positive about their lives, and can then put that feeling through to their customers every day. So as we've talked about before, if you have a genuine interest in people, if you have a positive attitude to life and to business, then we're certainly happy to talk to you. Communicating is absolutely key. So communicating with your customers and your staff, and making sure that when you do communicate to your customers that you do it in a positive and polite manner, and communicating clearly to your staff is key as well. Delegating is obviously a very important part. We don't expect you to do everything in the Donut King store. That's what your staff are for. So if you want to be successful in your business, you've really got to be able to deliver that fantastic customer service experience that keep people wanting to come back again and again, and give them great service, give them great coffee, great donuts, and there's certainly no reason why you shouldn't have them queuing up at your door.
Yeah, I know that there's a few points there about communication and people skills and attitude and that, but it really is encapsulated in delivering great, outstanding customer service, isn't it? I mean, that's what every business is all about, really, when it comes down to it.
It definitely is.
And lastly, you wanted to mention?
Within the Donut King system, we're always evolving and changing, and as we evolve and change, we take on research and we do a lot of work to put into new ideas into the Donut King system. I guess you need to be prepared to adopt those new learnings and those new systems along the relationship line. And if I take it right back to the beginning, you do have to be prepared to jump on board with Donut King and take on the way that we do things here. When we talk about culture, it's very much about the culture of Donut King and Retail Food Group, and we want people to come on board with us that are prepared to do that and to adopt our culture.
Okay. All right, so some great things. I know you wanted to, we've talked about store options, just to give people a bit more specific detail that they might not realise. We all know the Donut King brand, but that there are actual different types of options about getting into a Donut King business. Sure.
Well, let me start with our new store options. And as I mentioned before, we also call those greenfield options. So what happens there is that Retail Food Group have a number of leasing agents throughout Australia, and in every state we're always on the lookout for prime new sites for Donut King. The process is that our leasing agents have relationships with many landlords throughout Australia. We're approached daily to offer new stores to us and new sites, and we certainly don't take every site that's offered to us. We have a very strong footprint that we look for, and we adhere to that. Footprint. Footprint means the type of store or the type of surrounding that we would look for.
Space that you're in. Yeah.
Say if we were looking at a kiosk opportunity within a shopping centre, potentially we'd look at that shopping centre having an anchor tenant. That means someone like Coles or Woolworths or Target or one of the big
that brings in people.
Brings in the foot traffic, yeah. So we also talk about an ant trail. Now, an ant trail is something that you have that goes through a shopping centre, and that's the flow of traffic that people make as they enter the shops that they pass, as they're generally heading off to the anchor tenant, to the Coles or the Grief.
We're starting to get into the science of foot traffic.
the Coles or the Woolworths. And you will find, as you look around many shopping centres in Australia, that there's a Donut King or a Michelle's Patisserie smack out the front of that Coles or Woolies, because we know that the people go in.
So it's not by chance?
Come out. It's not by chance,
I didn't think so.
And look, Hester Power, I mentioned that right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Mums always take their kids shopping, and if you're good in the shopping centre and sit still in the shopping cart, I'll buy you a donut on the way out.
You've got me with our 3 boys. We do it all the time. Okay, we want to move on to an established store.
Okay, well, look, an established store is also called a resale store. Obviously, having 360 stores throughout Australia, there are stores that come onto the market periodically, and our franchisees are able to sell their stores whenever they wish. Retail Food Group becomes involved in that process once they have a purchaser. They can then go through the approval process, an interview process. Retail Food Group then approves them. They would then come into training, and go forward and then take on their store. So basically, established store means a store that's been running for a period of time. You know, you may find that store on the internet, you may find it on Franchise Buyer. You may also look on the Retail Food Group website and see that there's a number of stores that are available for sale.
Okay, and the next type, which is one that I imagine people don't think about too often, is store conversion.
Yeah, look, store conversion is something that we're seeing a little more of at the moment. I do get phone calls whereby people call me if they've got a bakery, cafe, and they say, look, I'd really like to jump on board with Retail Food Group, understand the benefits that are there, you know, the purchasing power, the strength in brands. I'd like to convert my store through to a Donut King. So if that is the type of query that we get, then what I do is I involve our leasing guys in each state, and I would ask them to go and meet with the potential store owner, look at the footprint again, and see if it's something that fits with what we're looking for in that area.
Okay. Store sizes. So we've talked about the new, established, and store conversions. So and you mentioned kiosk and a few other things. I know you wanted to give a bit of an idea about exactly what you were talking about there to actually show people. Okay, so store sizes.
So I guess if you're talking about a kiosk, that generally means that there is access to vision throughout all sides of the kiosk itself. And you'll see a lot of these throughout shopping centres in Australia. So we're looking at anywhere between 24 to 30 square metres. In a shopping centre, excuse me, space is key. You pay for every square meterage that you have, and that's why you'll see the stores are quite small and compact. You'd be amazed at what we can fit into those stores and still have that working flow, which is key to getting efficient service.
Because I suppose you hit a really good point there. Once you start adding, so you go 24 to 30 square metres roughly, you make it 33, 34, 35, and you're paying by the metre per annum, aren't you? So for rent for the space.
Yeah, you absolutely are. That's how shopping centres work. Yeah. Like, we pay by the metre. So that sort of store that you're looking at the moment would then have an off-site storeroom somewhere else. Now, we negotiate how we're going to include that into the lease, but you can't fit everything into a Donut King at 24 to 30 square metres, so the off-site storeroom is somewhere where you go once a day, you fill up your trolley, you bring it back, you stock your shop for the next day's trade.
Size.
Sorry, Glenn.
That's all right, next size.
We have what's called a small store as well, between 40 to 60 metres. And look, we may have taken this store because that's the size that was offered to us, or maybe the rent was more feasible square metre wise. And that allows us then to maybe have another cabinet in there, or perhaps to have a larger serving area.
And some seating space maybe in that sort of one?
Look, we try and get seating with all of our shops that we open. In fact, it's a policy of ours not to take a shop unless it has seating allocated to it.
Okay.
It's really key to our offer. You know, we want people to take a load off,
sit and enjoy their coffee and relax.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
The larger store that we're looking at now basically gives us a bigger footprint, a bigger offer. Means that we can have, as I say, maybe another cabinet in there, and potentially may have a larger seating area attached to it as well.
So the benefits of putting in more cabinets, more product means more
money.
More money. Okay, yeah, okay, excellent. That's an attractive looking store.
That is a lovely store.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just staring at it. All right, move on. Okay, so we were also just going to go into spoken a little bit about training, but go into a little bit more detail about training and what a potential or an incoming franchisee goes through in Retail Food Group from a training environment.
Okay, sure. Look, as I mentioned before, training is really a key part of what we do here at Retail Food Group. We have a fabulous training academy that you're going to see some footage of shortly, and franchisees that come into training can expect to have, depending on which system they're purchasing, between 4 and 8 weeks of training here at the Gold Coast Training Academy. This is a great bunch of franchisees that we had in recently.
That's a happy group.
They were a happy group, absolutely. So look, we've got there some Donut King franchisees, some Brumbies, some Esquires franchisees as well. So it just goes to show you that, whilst we might have separate brands, that we are indeed one big franchise family at the end of the day.
Excellent.
So just let me tell you a little bit more about the training. So day one, for example, I'll walk you through. You'd have induction. You'd come in, you'd be greeted by our trainers. Everyone's pretty nervous on day one. That's only to be, expected. You're going to meet everyone. You're going to talk about what Retail Food Group's about, what you're going to undertake. We'll give you your roster for the whole time that you're here. So your schedule, you know exactly what you're going to do from one day to the next. The next day you come in, you might be doing coffee, you might be learning how to make muffins or bread, and then you'll have 4 or 5 days on each section or each module as you go through the training. There's a lot of operational training, but there's also a lot of theory training. We then take you through the business side of operating a franchise as well, which is very much key to the ongoing success. So MyOp, the financial aspects, recruitment, operational training with one of our operational managers. You'll get a chance to sit down with one of our marketing managers and their assistants and actually talk about, you know, say for example, what's Donut King going to do for the next year? And we'll just give you an outline of our program of events. Marketing is very much a planned program that needs to be planned out way in advance, gives you an idea about what you can expect.
And this is really important stuff. I think the training and the focus and discussion on training is something that I'm always very keen to talk about from a franchising perspective, because it's such a strong benefit of becoming a franchise owner as opposed to going into business by yourself. Because how long is your training? 5 weeks? Or
for Donut King,
yeah.
It's 5 weeks.
5 weeks. So think about if you were starting your own business and you just had to go in there and start your business from scratch yourself with no experience, where instead you get to come in and have, you know, in Donut King's case, 5 weeks of full training on everything you need to run a business.
It's invaluable.
It's a big advantage.
It is absolutely invaluable, and in my role previously as training manager, and even up until this day, I've never heard anyone that has left the training academy being unsatisfied or feeling that they've left without knowing everything that they need to learn about their business. Of course, training is ongoing as well. So once you graduate from the training academy, we don't then kick you out into the wild blue yonder. We actually give you a support person from the day that you step into your store for a number of days to support you through that first confusing, worrying period about taking on your own business, putting into practice all the information that you've actually learned at the academy, putting it into practice in your own business. So we're there to hold your hand.
Okay. I know we loaded in a video here, so to just give you a bit of an idea, and this is one you and I recorded just a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
About some franchises in training. So it goes for about 2 minutes, so we'll let it run, and just to give people a bit of a taste of what's actually going on. Sorry, that was a joke. A taste of what's going on inside Donut King. Here we go. Okay, Faith. Now we're at another station here in the Training Academy. Now this looks like the tasty spot. What's happening here?
Yes, it certainly is. This is where it all comes together. All the work that the franchisees have undertaken, and we're looking at decorating. So we use a lot of fondants and glazes. We actually use artificial free fondants and glazes in Donut King, and as you can see, the product looks fabulous over there. It takes a bit of time to get it to this point, and certainly while franchisees are here in training, we spend all the time that we can making sure that they know how to do it correctly. They do numerous bakes while they're here in training and get the decorating just right so that you get a perfect donut out there in the store. So there is actually a bit of an art to decorating a donut, as Bev's showing you there, and we show all the franchisees how to do that. Their speed picks up obviously as their time increases in the academy, and we have templates for everything. Franchisees know exactly what's got to go on, say the boy and girl donut, how many Smarties, how many sprinkles. We make it as simple as possible for people to follow the processes that we have in place.
And that's all laid out in the manuals and everything they have, obviously, and they go through them in training?
That's right, yeah. On day one, franchisees are given all of the manuals that they need to undertake their training, operational, technical, etc. And they are those to keep for the duration of the time that they're here, or spending, with us over the term of their franchise agreement. Of course, we do workplace health and safety, orientation, induction. All of that is covered off in a manual format as well. So, yeah, when you undertake Donut King training, it really is an outstanding training course that you come into, and I've had a franchisee leave the course without saying that they thoroughly enjoyed it and learned just about everything they think they could utilise within their business. Of course, the training doesn't stop once they leave the academy. Once they're into their stores, they have support there through our business development managers, and that training continues for the duration of the franchise agreement. Retail Food Group is as much a training organisation as it is a franchise company, and we really pride ourselves on the training that we deliver to our franchisees.
Okay, so that was the Donut King Training Academy video, Faith.
Thanks for coming in and spending that time with me in there.
Oh, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. It was great fun. But so I know you wanted to quickly go on just and talk on it. You actually left the video on this point about support. So you've mentioned to me so many times in our discussion about all this sort of stuff. Support 100% of the way for a Donut King franchisee.
Okay, look, as I said, the support doesn't end when franchisees leave. It continues on and throughout the whole term of the franchise agreement. We have a very large operational department that looks after Donut King. It starts off with a national operations manager. We have a managing director above them. Their focus is wholly and solely on franchisees, improving the service that they offer, upping the average transaction value. At the end of the day, the support is there to help you improve your business and to make sure that you're following the system, because at the end of the day, you bought the system as a fantastic system. You just need to follow it and make sure that that you're adhering to the rules and regulations.
Advice. 31 years of system.
Yes.
Okay, and to find out more.
Look, I'd love to talk to you. Give me a call. I'm the voice at the end of the line at 1800 067 619. My name is Faith Manning. Love to talk to you about any of the opportunities that we have listed with Franchise Buyer or on Retail Food Group website. The process is that you'd have a chat to me. I'd find out a little bit about you. I'd tell you all about Retail Food Group, and then potentially pass you on to one of our people in the state that you live in, and they would follow up with a face-to-face meeting. Of course, if you're here in Queensland, happy for you to come down to the Gold Coast Training Academy and head office and meet with us and talk about where you'd like to take your experience with Donut King.
Okay, excellent, Faith. Thanks so much again for taking the time to have a chat with franchisebuyer.com.au. Thanks again.
Been a pleasure, Glenn. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.